Saudi Aramco has a lot to tell the world, from staging the most prominent initial public offering, IPO, ever to enduring the worst cyber attack in history. This video will go through the top 7 facts about Saudi Aramco, the world's largest oil company. If this seems fascinating to you, let's get started. 7. World's biggest crude reserve. To start with, Saudi Aramco has the world's second biggest proven crude oil reserves, with about 270 billion barrels and the world's most significant daily oil production of any oil-producing company. Saudi Aramco is situated in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, and is officially known as Saudi Arabian Oil Company. The master gas system, operated by Saudi Aramco, is the world's most extensive single hydrocarbon network. It controls over 100 oil and gas fields in Saudi Arabia, including 288.4 trillion standard cubic feet of natural gas reserves. Its crude oil production totaled 3.4 billion barrels in 2013. The Safaniya field, the world's most extensive offshore oil field, and the Ghawar field, the largest global onshore oil field, are operated by Saudi Aramco. 6. Saudi Aramco cyberattack. Under the next point, a cyber attack was staged against Saudi Aramco in 2012, and this destroyed 35,000 computers. Many analysts have dubbed this cyber attack the worst hack in the history of the world. New York Times stated that the attack deleted data on 3/4 of the company's systems and replaced it with an image of a burning American flag. For Saudi Aramco to counter the cyber attack while it was happening, they disconnected their computers from the internet, though the harm had already been done. Of course, it took Aramco 5 months to fully restore its computer networks, with much increased cyber protection. The cyber attack is not the only attack Saudi Aramco has faced. They've had to deal with other physical attacks of fired missiles. We have more on this in this video, so stay with us. 5. Saudi Aramco market value. Furthermore, Saudi Aramco revealed in March 2021 that their earnings in 2020 were roughly 45% lower than in 2019 due to the global lockdowns following the COVID-19 epidemic, which reduced oil demand. Nonetheless, Saudi Aramco was listed as the world's 5th largest public business in the Forbes Global 2000 in 2020 despite their enormous drawdowns in 2020. Saudi Aramco's net income in 2021 was estimated to be around $110 billion. Saudi Aramco was one of the most profitable corporations globally, with a net income that more than doubled from the previous fiscal year. In 2021, Aramco's net income increased to $110 billion, compared to $49 billion in 2020. 4. Drone attack on Saudi Aramco's site. Again, on September 14, 2019, a drone and missile attack was launched on 2 Saudi Aramco sites, the Abqaiq oil processing facility and the Kurais oil field. The strike was carried by Houthi rebels, who claimed responsibility for it. Saudi Aramco's crude output decreased by 5.7 million barrels per day, accounting for more than 5% of global supplies. Saudi Aramco's officials discussed delaying Saudi Aramco's IPOs since the assaults placed more than half of the kingdom's oil output on hold. We will soon be discussing what Saudi Aramco's IPO was and why it took the world by surprise and broke records. Recently, too, in March 2022, Saudi Aramco suffered another missile attack. According to the Saudi Arabian news by state-run SPA, Houthi militants in Yemen launched a drone attack on an Aramco complex in Jazan, southern Saudi Arabia. The Saudi-led coalition claims that the Yemeni rebel group's barrage of drone and missile attacks resulted in no civilian casualties. 3. Saudi Aramco's ties to Saudi Arabia. In addition to the above, the Saudi government receives a significant amount of Saudi Aramco's wealth because it is primarily a state-owned enterprise. Saudi Aramco pays the Saudi Arabian government a 50% tax rate. Previously, the tax rate was set at 85%. Because of Saudi Aramco's ties to the government, it received a lower rating than one might expect from a company of its size. Moody's senior credit officer Rian Akbar wrote, "While there is a clear track record of Aramco Having been run as a commercially independent company, the government's budget is highly reliant upon contributions from Aramco in the form of royalties, taxes, and dividends. Saudi Aramco is a state-owned company, but do you agree with the 50% tax rate the government takes from them? Let us hear your thoughts in the comments section below. 2. Biggest contributor of carbon emission. Also, Saudi Aramco is the world's greatest corporate greenhouse gas emitter, accounting for approximately 4% of global emissions since 1965. According to the Climate Accountability Institute, Aramco has released about 60 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere since 1965. Between 1965 and 2017, Saudi Aramco was joined on the top 20 greenhouse gas emitters list by Chevron, Gazprom, ExxonMobil, BP, and several other oil majors. The world will need to rely less on fossil fuels to transition to a low-carbon future. However, as the global energy crisis has demonstrated, totally avoiding the oil and gas industry is difficult at the moment. 1. Saudi Aramco IPO. Moving on, Saudi Aramco shares began trading on the Tadawul Stock Exchange on December 11, 2019. On the second day of trading, the stock increased to 35.2 Saudi riyals, giving it a market capitalization of nearly US $1.88 trillion. Saudi Aramco IPO raised a record $25.6 billion in its first public offering in 2019, selling 3 billion shares. This amounted to barely 1.5% of Aramco's worth, a massive difference from companies like Apple, where the public owns more than 84% of its stocks. The company increased the amount of its IPO to $29.4 billion by selling 450 million more shares using a greenshoe or over-allotment option. Saudi Aramco is, without a doubt, one of the most critical organizations in the oil industry. We hope you enjoyed watching the top 7 facts about Saudi Aramco, the world's largest oil company. If you did, please share this video with any of your friends who are interested in Saudi Aramco. See you soon in the next video.